you?
Good, good. Panic escape room. Dimitri, which panic escape room did we go to for that tour?
I do not remember, but Long Beach sounds right.
It's Long Beach. Nice.
Yeah. Hey guys, how are you?
Welcome, welcome. Just gonna hang tight a little bit, wait for more people to hop on, and then we'll get started. Panic escape from Long Beach. Did you guys just open your location, like in the past couple months?
No, I've been open for a little over a year now. It was
Okay.
in the last year.
Okay, okay. Are you the guys that have the shooting gallery thing and the bar, all that stuff?
Oh, that's West Hollywood. I'm the one in Long Beach.
Okay, okay, got it.
So I've been open since because I'm the owner of that franchise. So I've been open since October of 2023. They just opened up a month ago or a couple months ago.
Nice. Very cool.
But hello, yes, this is my first. I think it's my first call I've been on. So it happened to work today.
Awesome. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Stuff.
Yeah, we toured their location in Hollywood before they opened to public. It was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. How many rooms do you guys have in Long Beach?
Right now I have 4, and I'm working on the 5th one right now.
Nice.
Because right now I have 2 or 3 hour-long rooms and then 1 45-minute long room. So the new room I'm creating is a 30-minute room because we're right on the street. So we get a lot of foot traffic. And a lot of times people will say 45 minutes is too long or hours too long. So I figured kind of create a 30-minute room to catch that crowd.
Smart.
You know, it's interesting. Yeah, we also have, I'm also in like one of my locations in a busy walk-in area. And so we converted few rooms to 45-minute rooms and they became like popular. So yeah, I agree with you. Some people just don't have time to spend an hour.
And we get a lot of conference traffic because we're only 3 blocks up from the Long Beach Conference Center. So really on a lunch break, someone can come in, walk up, takes 5 minutes to get there, do a room and walk back and still have their lunch. So
it's awesome. It's a great idea. And your throughput is so much higher too.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Andy, welcome. The man, the myth, the legend again. I like it. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll probably wait for like 1 more minute and then we'll get started here.
Great.
While we're waiting, maybe Austin, let's do introductions for the people on the call.
Yeah, yeah. Pam and anyone else on the call, if you want to introduce yourself, just kind of go over where you're from, what your business is called and such, and then we can just work around.
Hey, I'm Pam. Actually, I don't own a business. I'm more of an enthusiast right now, but I am leaning into wanting to create an escape room. So I'm basically just want to be a fly on the wall and learn a lot to see if it's something that I can do. I have several ideas, and I have a friend who worked at Warner Brothers, and they thought maybe there's an idea I could do a pop-up there. I don't know. It's just a lot of different ideas that I had, and I'm Pacific Coast time, so I'm actually kind of still at work since it's just 3 o'clock my time. So that's why I'm off camera and listening in. So hopefully I don't have to jump off too quickly, but I am still kind of working. But I don't know. That's me, basically.
Well, welcome. Thank you. And this is the perfect call to be on, looking at locations. So excellent. Welcome.
Exactly. Yeah, I love all that. So that'd be perfect. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead. Rod, go ahead.
On your
All right, who else we got on the call? Nice, introduce yourself.
Just a little bit of vibration there. Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm actually sitting next to Rod, which I'm sorry about the
Oh, there we go.
reverb. Yeah, we're both from Canada in Ontario, and we're in the sort of planning. So we don't have a business yet, but we're planning. So super excited about this talk today.
Cool. Very nice.
Awesome.
Cool. And hopefully I pronounce your name right. Is it Opie?
Hey, yes, just like Andy Roof with the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing very exotic here. But yeah, so I am currently in the permit purgatory right now, trying to figure this out. I'm on my 6th month of having this perfect location I love. And it's just been a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, would love to kind of get your guys' input on all that stuff and clever workarounds and anything like that. So
Nice. Well, we understand and welcome. Good stuff.
Looks
I guess
like
I'll
we got.
jump in. I'll jump in. David Dent. I'm the owner of Panic Room Long Beach franchise. Been open for, like I said, about a year and a half, getting to that point. My background is I'm an architect, building inspector, so the process was actually pretty easy for me to open. I drew my own plans, I did my own construction, and pretty much Panic supplied like the puzzles, and I did a lot of the theming with a friend of mine. So kind of, if there's a streamlined version of how to do it, finding a location. I'm a realtor as well, so I was able to kind of zero in on a location that I felt was pretty obtainable. But yeah, so we'll go over some of that stuff, but that's my background.
Nice.
Awesome. Andy, introduce yourself.
Hey, not a building inspector. That's an incredible background to have as somebody opening escape rooms. We've never heard of that before. It's awesome. I'm one of the 5 folks on the Morty team. One of the founders of Morty the escape room app. And I work on Morty all the time. That's all I do.
There we go. That's why Morty's so awesome. and he's hard work. Thank you. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Peter?
So thank you for everyone being on this call. We are going to go over finding locations today and everything in between, maybe the things that are not so fun and the fun stuff at the same time. Dimitri has a wealth of information for this because he has opened tremendous amount of locations and he knows how to do it. So I will give the floor over to Dimitri, and Dimitri, you can share your screen and we'll make this thing happen.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As you know, that me and Austin, we are partners. We own a Blow Up a Launchpad marketing agency. But besides that, I own escape rooms, extra places, spin art studios, and rage rooms and splatter studios. We have 15 locations in 5 different states. We've been doing it for the last 12 years now. And yeah, just like Austin mentioned, we have some experience with finding locations, opening new businesses, and buying businesses, and so on and so on. So today we decided to talk about, if you're looking for your first location, or maybe you're looking to expand and open multiple locations, what you should consider and during the process, basically. So I hope it's going to be interesting and educational and helpful for you for your future, basically, search. I've done a lot of mistakes, and so happy to share some of the things that work and some that probably don't work. So first of all, again, how do I do it with multiple locations? I always start with partners. So if I'm looking to do something in a new state or new city, first I'm going to find a partner. And where do you usually find partners? So I go to different business conferences all the time, And this is where I'm finding like-minded people. I also go to like escape room conferences and just different conferences where I can find people who is like-minded, like me. What do I look for? Well, first, so once I find a good candidate, I'm going to actually look for location in an area where they live, because I want to have a local partner who can run and operate the business. And it's important to have somebody who might have already previous business ownership like experience. So like some of my business partners, like I listed here, one of them has a fleet of Turo cars, for example. Another person is basically a full-time real estate agent and investor. I have another partner who is a construction company owner. So it takes time to develop a relationship. So it's not like I saw them first time and immediately everything clicked and we start working together. Usually I like slow approach where I meet somebody, I'm gonna stay in touch with them for some period of time, learning more about them. They're gonna learn about what I do and how I do things. And Austin is a great example. We actually met with him literally at one of the business conferences years ago. And so we just start talking, and he lives in California, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And after the conference, we just reconnected and continued talking for a while before we start something together. And we started small, small things he started doing for me, and then it just grew and grew and grew. We start trusted each other more and more. And eventually it just came out to be that, we opened a company together, marketing agency. So this is, it's very important. I'm always also trying to find a capital partners, so people who are going to invest money. And the truth is, no matter how much money you have, it's always going to be limited. And so I always like to bring the partners who have capital to invest, because A, it helps me to limit my exposure, and B, it helps me to fund more projects, right? So this is important. And a lot of people don't like to work with partners, but if you truly want to grow and expand, you have to just learn how to find the right partners and how to trust them. Now, also with that being said, obviously each partnership needs to be properly documented. So if you start working with the partners and you open a new location, you have to consider, like, once I find a partner, we register new entity. And usually I work on the LLC. I like to do elect it as an S Corp in the United States. This is how we operate. Then once we have entity created, we create EIN number. It's very simple. You just go online and do it. Then they create operating agreement. And operating agreement is the backbone of our relationships. It doesn't matter how good friends we are or how well we know each other, maybe your family members. I strongly recommend to draft a good operating agreement. And how can you find operating agreement, for example, right, to use? Well, one, get a local attorney. He'll help you to draft it. Or B, second option is find a partner who already has operating agreement and use that. And in the worst case scenario, if you don't have ability, reach out to us. We'll work with you, and we'll be able to probably help you to obtain a good operating agreement, something what we use, for our contracts. And then you open a bank account, and once you have an open bank account, again, partners who use, who invest in money, they usually deposit portion, and then we go to the next step. And next step, once, some things happen obviously at the same time. So once I know in which city I'm going to be opening, I'm starting research of the market, right? And the way how I do it, it might be counterintuitive, but for escape rooms, I actually like to be in a cities with a strong competition. I know it might crazy, it might sound crazy, but it just works really, really well. So I look for cities with multiple high-rated escape rooms, and I concentrate on areas where there's a lot of other entertainment happening in the area. So I'm looking also for strong food traffic in the area. Why strong competitors important, right? Specifically for escape rooms, because of the enthusiasts. So right now, like years ago, it was a little bit different situation, but these days, enthusiast is very strong, and they travel to the hub cities, as I call them. So basically, if there is an area with the multiple strong escape rooms, a lot of people use Morty app these days, and they would come to the city for the weekend for like 2 3 days, and they would try to hit as many escape rooms as possible during this weekend. So I know a lot of times they do like 10 12 15 escape rooms in a weekend, and so they would come normally to the cities where there's a lot of good escape rooms first. So I hope it makes sense. So what or how I also do research. So I use Google Maps creatively. When I don't know anything about the city, first thing I do is I search for Starbucks and Panera Breads. And then I search for escape rooms, extrovert venues, rage rooms, some paint studios, basically entertainment. I'm looking for entertainment clusters. So Starbucks and Panera Bread gonna give me idea what area of town generally good area, and then all entertainment concepts. I just want to see where they most of them located. So I kind of understand. Okay, I understand the now dynamics in the city, and obviously once I do my preliminary research, then we get involved local real estate agent, and obviously my local partner, also going to advise where the good areas is. So I hope that makes sense. So location, right? Locations is extremely important. And again, in the past, it was a little bit different story, but right now, I believe in order to be successful, you want to be in areas with a high foot traffic. So I like local malls. I like local entertainment districts that open in different cities in the different areas. Yes, they are much more expensive a lot of times. That is true. But outcome, like amount of foot traffic you can get, usually they overcome all the extra expenses for the lease. So I prioritize visibility and accessibility. So this is what we focus on. If you have capital or if you have access to the capital, I strongly recommend to go with a buying option. And buying is incredible. You lock your payments for, it's locked for years to come, because if you've been leasing, and I've been leasing for the last 12 years some of my escape room locations, every year they increase at least 3%. Sometimes some leases these days they request 4 or 5% increase every year. And so, multiply it by 10, you're talking about in 10 years, your lease is 30% higher. Now, guess what? People who were able to buy the same property at the same time, they pay the same price. Not only that, but also appreciation of the real estate is crazy, have been crazy in the last 10 years. So if you can buy, it's great. And I have some partners with deeper pockets, and I see the strategies. What they would do, for example, they would find a building with few existing tenants in a building and empty space, and then basically the 2 or 3 other tenants in the building would pay for the whole building. So you kind of have free rent, free space. It's incredible. I mean, buying real estate has some good advantages. So if you can afford it, if you can do it, definitely do that. Next, space requirements. So I like to look for open space places. It's just it's faster. You don't have to do a lot of demolition. It costs more cost effective, because this ways you don't have to pay for the dumpster, pay for the crew to break down. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it still takes time and energy and effort and money. And I like to save money, on construction where I can. Local networking. So I love to meet local escape room owners when I'm opening a new escape room. I like to meet other entertainment businesses owners in the area, and I like to communicate with them because A, you build personal relationships, but second, you also can get some knowledge, because guess what? They already went through the process of opening their business. So they have some insider knowledge. Sometimes, of course, it's not applicable because it might be different, little bit different county, little bit different like city or pocket. But in general, you can get very good, valuable information about how's the permitting process, how's the city inspectors, like what to expect, what to be careful about, and it's important. It helps you. Construction pitfalls, like what to do, what not to do. Sometimes they're going to be able also to give you a referral for the crew they use, because guess what? Again, they interviewed probably a lot of crews. They know, like, if they didn't like somebody, they can tell you, do not hire these people. At least, it can help you to save a good amount of money. I'll give you an example. We are right now working on a new location for escape room in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I've been looking at this market for like about a year. Hard to find space there, and we found few, but at the end it didn't work out for different reasons. So it was hard. And so I've been in a communication with one of the guys who is opening there. By now he's already open. It's a concept. It's a game show. Maybe you guys familiar with what it is, but it's super cool new concept. It's very similar to escape room audiences. So the audience is the same. And so we were talking about that he's looking for space. I was looking for space, and then he reached out to me, or I followed up with him. I don't remember exactly. And he mentioned, yeah, I found the space. And by the way, in my building, there is a space next to us. Looks like going to become available soon because the tenant stopped paying, and landlord like communicated to him that, if you know somebody, there might be space available. So he let me know. I immediately reached out to landlord, and we actually were able to secure the space before it even became available in the market. So communication, it's definitely very important. Lease negotiation. So this is another thing. When you looking for the space, like I usually, again, will search everything available in the area, like usually through real estate agent. They just feed you all available spaces. I would find, everything what's suitable for the per square footage, per general like layout and stuff. And then I'll give it to real estate agent and my partner to see, like, hey, I like these 5 locations in different areas. Tell me what you think. So they would advise me, okay, this area is much better than this area, and so on and so on. And so once we decide that we like the area and we like layout and we want to move on to the next step, this is when we would reach out to landlord and start, preliminary negotiations. Like obviously, we would go out and check the space, check the area, and if everything checks out, now we want to see the details. And the details for me is crucial. So I'm never in a rush. I would rather to look for longer, but to secure better terms. So I always like to do leases with a no personal guarantee. And these days, it's much harder to find that kind of properties, but they still do exist. Like example, again, in North Carolina, we have no personal guarantee there. Another way how to limit your exposure, for example, if you want to, if you have other businesses, if you have a lot of net worth, for example, and you want to limit the exposure, what I like to do is sometimes you can, somebody can, like if there is a must be personal guarantee, first I will try to limit it. So there is options where it can be limited to X amount of dollars. For example, I have one of the options in the past where it was like $80,000 guarantee, no matter what. But then rest of it that's it, basically. My exposure was like 80K. Now, another option is you can do 1 year rolling personal guarantee. So you just kind of guarantee 1 year of the payments. Another option is to get one of your partners to sign personal guarantee, and now you're limiting your exposure. In these cases, I usually negotiate where this partner would get extra equity in a company, because again, he puts his, whatever he has on a line in general if something goes wrong, but that's also an option. So be creative. Then HVAC. I love to negotiate HVAC contracts where I'm responsible for the first, let's say, $1,000 or $1,500, or maximum I have like $2,500 of repairs. Everything above would go to the landlord. And again, these days it's much harder to negotiate that kind of deals, but this is part of the negotiation process. And during this process, you will see if you have flexible landlord. Is this is like local landlord who is maybe small, he has few properties only, or maybe just one commercial property. So he will be much more flexible than big institution who don't really care, who is their tenant. Also, if the property have been sitting on the market for quite a bit, again, landlord probably going to be more flexible on, be flexible on terms, be flexible on the price per square foot, and everything else. So this is important. And then if there is like tenant improvements available, I love to see if I can get either like free rent. And with building escape rooms, it takes a long time. Like compared, for example, some other businesses I opened in the past, it takes longest, right? There is a lot of process to work, to go through the architect, to go through the city. And so you need to secure as many months free rent as possible. With that being said, I also always like to ask for tenant improvement money. Like, is there any money like I can secure from the landlord? And advantage of going with the big institutions like malls, right? They have funds. So a lot of times, yes, their lease can be much more expensive, but in the meantime, you can negotiate better terms where they can give you 50, 75, 100K, 150K to improve the property. And they can give you longer tenant improvement, or longer free rent as well. Like I've seen some crazy deals where it's like 6 month, 8 month free rent, and it adds up very, very quick. So keep that in mind. Construction. So construction is crazy important. And for me, timing is everything. So every extra month I have to pay rent. It adds up really, really quick, because especially like I'm leasing usually bigger spaces like 5,000 square foot plus. And if I'm paying, like 10K, 12K, I've seen some leases like 15K per month. It adds up like really quick. So I don't want to drag out my 3 month build out to a year. I want it to be very, very efficient. So I hire multiple crews at once. Like I'm going to have my framers lined up, electricians, plumbers, HVAC people, sprinkler system people. And then I'm going to have my internal team who is like carpenters, artists, engineers, all lined up before the project starts. So as soon as I know city, as soon as I know that I'm locking the space, I'm already negotiating. I'm already asking for the bids. I'm talking to other escape room owners for the referrals, so I can quickly build like network of people who I'm going to be working on the construction side. Because think about it, like nine months of rent. If you're building for 9 months, for example, at 10K, it's $90,000 out of your pocket. Just as simple as that. So I prefer to build fast. I prefer to open fast and start earning as fast as possible. It's critical for me. Next, so launching strategy. So obviously, because we own marketing agency, we market like a pros, and it's critical for me. Again, I don't just want to open, I want to launch. And this is like one of our products is called like escape room launchpad system. The reason why we created it, because we start using it for ourselves, and we realized how important to launch fast. We bring influencers early on, even during the construction process. They do like background scenes, like footage. They start sharing with their networks. So there is anticipation building up. It's important for us that by the time that we finish, we already have audience. We already have people anticipating us to open. So as soon as we are ready, we're gonna launch, like again, influencers heavily. We're gonna do a Facebook ads. We're gonna do Instagram, TikTok, backed up with the Google ads. It's important for us. So this is part again of our launchpad system, where we focus heavily on storytelling and social proof. And you know, what we see with this system is when we launch it, it's like, okay, instead of generating like first month, I don't know, 10K, 15K, you know, we can launch and start generating from day one like 40, 50, 60, 80K, right? Depends on obviously how advanced your escape room is. But it's critical because if you can start generating from day one, you know, 50K, well, it's a big difference. And if you can open, especially like in the first 3 months, then you're generating money and it helps you to expand because a lot of times what we do is, again, funds is limited. So we have a space where we can do like 6 rooms or 7 rooms, but we would start immediately with, let's say, 3, and then we generate income and we add more rooms as we go. And of course, all of this being planned in advance. So we know during the process, like, do we have extra entrances there where the crew can come in and not interact with the, you know, people in the front lobby and so on and so on. So it's important. So yeah, I talked about that. And then choosing the right city. So I love to work with the biggest cities, and it's 1 million plus population. And of course, I'm talking about it can be, you know, city and suburbs, right? So we like cities like Atlanta, Phoenix, LA, New York, Chicago, Miami, and so on and so on. You get the idea. Why? Because there is a strong entertainment demand. There is a lot of potential people who is visiting the cities and a lot of local people. So you always will have enough of customer base who are going to be coming and visiting you. There is also on another side, from marketing side, there is a lot of local influencers, and we work specifically with the local influencers who can help us to, again, launch our, you know, opening and when we open. So this is why you need a big enough ecosystem where there is a lot of people year round. This is important. So this is kind of, yep, I just got, I think, everything what I want to cover because I want to open the floor for the questions. There might be some questions you guys have. And, you know, we want to make sure that we have enough time to answer as many questions as possible for you. So if you have questions, go ahead, raise the hand or write it, and Austin will read it out loud, and we're just gonna, you know, start answering.
Peter, you ask a question? You have a question?
Yes, good day, everybody. My name is Peter. Well done on presentation. Very good systems. What I have question about is, first of all, like, how do you retain clients? You know, like, do you change escape room every month or so that people who already like went through this thing, do they come again and just like see like a new kind of escape room style? And the second question is, what if you really like the place, you really like the position, but just for some reason the escape room is not going well, and you want to keep the location, keep all of your investments that you already put into the construction of it. What are the ways you can change it into that will be easy enough?
Okay, good. It's two completely different questions, but good questions. So, okay, first question. There is 2 strategies in general for escape rooms. Again, I'm focusing on big areas and expensive escape rooms, especially these days. So I'm usually spending around 100,000 per escape room. So I'm talking about not a whole location, but build out just for one experience. So what it means is, once I build it, I don't have ability, it's not feasible to change the theme very often. I'm building like world-class, you know, quality experiences. And the reason why we do that is because, again, and this is the reason why we open in the big cities. So once we build, we know it's going to be there for good 5, 6, 8, 10 years. So this is our goal. Like we make them so good that they just going to continue generating income. And of course, we upkeep them and we update them, you know, during the years, so they stay fresh. Maybe we update some puzzles which see that doesn't work, you know, or something we want to like include something a little bit better. But usually we don't switch. Like literally, I tried to switch in one of my locations a few games. Okay, the only time when we switch, it's when the game doesn't perform. So for example, I have a location with 7 rooms, and I pull the statistics like after a few years, and I see, okay, one room consistently doing worse than every other room. This is the only time when I'm going to scrap this project and I'm going to build something else instead, just because the room doesn't perform. Okay, now there's a different strategy for the cities with the smaller populations in the rural areas. They completely different. So they usually buy and implement rooms. Even in today's days, like I see them, they buy a used room for 5K. They spend another 5K to bring it and to set it up, and they would rotate it probably in a year. And nothing wrong with the system, you know. So they would sell it for, let's say, maybe 3K. So they recoup their money back, they'll buy another room for 5K, and they continue doing it. So it's also a viable strategy. Again, I don't focus on it because, you know, I'm focused on, you know, bigger builds and bigger cities. Okay, second question. What would you do if your location is not producing? Tough. This is tough. And especially because you spend a lot of money right there. So in general, I would say if escape room not producing, there's not many other concepts can help you, okay? Because escape rooms usually like pretty popular. So one of the new concepts that really works well in today's market, I see, you know, some of the projects happening around the country. It's game show. So if you don't know what it is, Google it. It's becoming very popular. It's very popular for the bigger groups, corporate groups. And again, it looks like it's these days it generates better than escape rooms looks like in general. So explore that option. If there is none of them exist in your area, you can potentially scrap one of your escape rooms. I don't know the square footage of them, but I think game shows like require around 400, 500 square foot. I might be a little mistaken, but plus or minus that. This might help you. Otherwise, like again, I wouldn't suggest X throwing. I wouldn't suggest rage rooms. I wouldn't suggest splitter rooms. They not in general, like I have all of them, so I kind of know the numbers. They wouldn't generate as good solid escape room. So I hope that answers that question. All right, Austin, you muted.
All right, we have a chat question here. All right, ADA. Do you run into issues with complaints if certain parts aren't accessible, i.e. crawl spaces? That's the first question.
Okay, let me answer that. Honestly, I don't think so. Like, and I have many of these things. Like I have a slide in one of my escape rooms. Obviously, we have steps, we have like crawl spaces and stuff. We have usually per location, we have few rooms that's accessible completely. So if people, you know, reach out to us, we usually recommend to them, okay, use this room or this room because they're specifically designed to be accessible. For other rooms, I have some rooms, like for example, where I have a slide, we have a way around. So you just not, obviously, you're not going to be able to go through this section of the escape, but then they're just going to drive in from another, you know, from another entrance, and they're going to wait for their group to arrive. Like this is how we, you know, work with this issue. But yeah, it's in 10 years, we probably had, I don't know, 1 or 2 complaints between multiple locations. Yeah, so usually it's not a big problem for us.
All right, second question. Learnings from mistakes around floor plans, permitting with city planners or the fire department.
Okay, architects, plan, like if you think it's going to take like a month for architect, multiply by 3. If you think it's going to take 2 times, multiply by 2. Like architects these days, I don't know what they're doing or how they operate, but it's like incredibly slow process. In multiple cities I've done businesses, I haven't found an architect who I was satisfied with, you know, or who would I use like more than once. Literally, it's hard, it's painful, and it's just, man, nightmare. And then with the cities, I found out that if you want progress to be faster, your local partner should be on the top of it and not to wait while architect communicates with the city. Just architects have a question, they submit the question, go to the city with the city planner or whoever, like in permits departments, person assigned to your case, and bug them, talk to them, ask them, email them, again, show up there, bring donuts if necessary, and you will get answers like 10 times faster, and sometimes it's like ridiculous simple question, but it would take them a week to reply. It doesn't make sense. Push it, try to push it, and it will help. So this is things. Another thing is I would listen to fire marshal. I would not try to go behind their back because it's going to bite you in the ass. Like, for example, we have one of the locations in very strict area, like crazy strict. I tried to do anything possible to get mag locks on exit doors, and I did install push bar, whatever they call it. I install the sensor where somebody approaches, it would open. I connected it to the central security system and fire system. At the end, nothing worked out. They told me to rip it out, and so one of the escape rooms, I don't have exit mag locks on the doors. It's ridiculous. I had to come up with an idea where it's a sign, small sign, and it says locked, and the bulb inside it, it shows that it's locked. And once they solve the puzzle, it shuts down the light and it says unlocked or something like that, and they can't come out. Some people, few people, especially enthusiasts, will say what the heck is this ridiculous thing? And you have to tell them, yeah, this is the only way how I was able to open. And majority of people would understand. Another thing which I noticed during the time, it's interesting. So once you submit the plans and you do your original build out, it's interesting, but usually in the majority of the cities, my expansion, I wouldn't worry about city much at all. I would just do expansion. I would just add another escape room or something, change or build more doors, more rooms, more walls. City don't care, kinda. Yes, I'm assuming if something will happen, tragedy will happen and it's crazy stuff will happen, it can bite you in the ass because they're going to review the plans. But in general, if I do everything per code, they're not going to care. If you use metal studs where only metal studs allowed, if you do everything openings and stuff for the doors and passages as it's needed, they're not going to care. So that's another thing that I learned. But of course, sprinkler system needs to be adjusted, and HVAC needs to be adjusted. But again, usually the main thing is to pass this initial build out stage. Rest of it is kind of easy.
Real quick, I can kind of double down on that
Sure.
experience. The way it is that depending on what your occupancy is rated, if you're a B occupancy or an A occupancy, as long as you can keep the size of your location in a B occupancy, then you won't have an annual fire inspection. So if you get that A designation, which let's say, for example, our West Hollywood has an A because they have a restaurant and a bar component. So they're subject to an annual inspection by the fire department. So based on that, if they start doing after opening changes, it's more likely for them to get caught versus when you have a B occupancy, they only inspect you the one time and they never come back. So it's kind of, when you're determining what you do with that and how much of it's going to be upfront and how much it's going to be after, that's going to be a distinguishing factor if you have an annual fire inspection.
Good point. Also, in our area, for example, in Charlotte, North Carolina, we're working on a project. There is a business or there is assembly. It's also different times. So you need to know through architect, what are you and what's the rules there and regulations basically. And it will help you in the long term for sure to understand what to expect.
Nice. Okay, the next question. What are the top 5 features in an escape room that make it the most profitable / high demand?
Ooh, great question. So I learned this. Here's my suggestion. Open an escape room. I think the perfect size to generate money is about 400 square foot. 400 to 500. I would even stay with 400 square foot. 400 square foot, when it open space, it looks small. Tell me how I know, because I've done it a few times, and every time I'm looking at $400, basically 20 by 20 bucks, right? It looks so small. What can you do there? But then you start dividing it and being creative with the passages and stuff. You can literally easily do 4 rooms, starting room and then moving. 4 rooms in a 400 square foot, and it's going to look big enough and good enough. So, stay with this square footage, because I built a lot of escape rooms, which was much bigger size. And I learned later on it's just kind of waste of money, waste of space, because square footage, especially these days, price per square foot is very expensive. So stay smaller. There is quite a few these days. Like I know in LA, I know in Las Vegas, I played some games in Florida as well, where with the small spaces, they made incredible games, like full 1-hour games, but they just unique. So you have to be creative, and you can do some wonders with the small spaces. And again, it's going to help you to save, save money. So this is one of the biggest things that can help you to generate money. Another important thing is, and again, it might be not popular opinion, but I use a lot of technology in my games these days. So they all automated. We use control system that presented on a screen in a control room. So each stage of the game, we know exactly where the players are. We see the puzzles. We can bypass the puzzles if there is any problem at any stage. We can change lights. We can control the whole game basically from the control room. And it's because it's heavily optimized and heavily a lot of electronics used. It helps us a lot when we have a problems with employees. Like, for example, I don't know, guys, maybe it's just me, but for us to find good employees is extremely hard. And training to escape room game master, much harder than any other businesses I owned in entertainment industry. So, but a lot of times, like there will be a time when 1, 2, or 3 people will quit, like almost like immediately. One person gets sick, another one quits, another one moves to school, something. And then, if you have facility with 7 escape rooms, it's becoming very challenging, like especially with the people who run 1-to-1 ratio. So being highly optimized with electronics and stuff, right? It helps you a lot, because in these situations, my game master can run like 2-3 games simultaneously by himself. Again, it's not ideal, it's not optimal. I hate when it happens, but it helps me to stay open, not to close multiple game slots available. So it helps me to generate, and stay on top of generating income, even in a crisis situations. So this is, I think, 2 biggest things that help me to generate, income.
All right, next question. Following up on the ADA question, what ballpark budget do you set aside to retrofit a location to be accessible, wheelchair ramp to an entrance, etc.?
I don't like the locations that not already have everything what's needed. Like, I don't want to do like concrete work and do the ramps and build like ADA accessible restrooms. I want it to be already there. And this is going to be one of the biggest things for me, not to lease the space if I have to spend extra $100K just on making it ADA accessible. Like, I would rather wait for 3, 4, 5 months for another space somewhere else versus, jumping on a location where I'm going to be heavily involved with making it like ADA, accessible. I hope that answers the question.
Well, just to throw a quick number out there, usually it's about $7,500 for a bathroom, an ADA bathroom. For a ramp, let's say if you need to get up about 18 inches or so to the front door, you're probably going to spend roughly around $6,500 for a ramp that gets you up 18 inches. And then if you're missing a bunch of signage and things, you'll probably spend, because actually signs are pretty expensive. If you get an actual ADA, regulated sign, you can get up to probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of just signage alone. That's like wayfinding, doors, arrows, and your room should have labels on them with Braille. So a Braille sign alone is, $20, $30 for one of those signs, depending on the size of it. And then if you're going to widen a door, let's say a door is less than the 36-inch width, you're probably going to spend a good $2,700 or so, $3,000 to widen the door, because you'll need the new door, the new hardware, and the reframing of it all.
Yep.
And doors are about $1,000 or so.
Yeah, and it adds up really quick, like really quick.
Yeah. So those are some ballpark numbers of just the main things I've seen people have to go in and update right away.
Nice.
And just make sure that even if you get a leased unit, look at the parking lot as well. Because what will happen is the parking lot will be under maintenance, and the leasing or the property owner will look to you to make the upgrades on the parking lot, which will be painting and striping the parking lot or putting up new signs outside or even some lighting as well. So just be cautious of that hopefully when you walk through and see that the parking's okay, it's at a manageable level. Because if not, they'll be first to tell you your permit triggered them to do that, and they'll stick it on you.
Yep, good point.
Good points indeed. Alrighty. Is it worth trying to get a zoning change if the location is otherwise good?
Again, not for me. It's, there is more opportunity somewhere else. And again, your situation might be a little bit different because I operate in the different states and different cities. So these days I don't really care if it's going to work out in one city or another, but for you, it's probably a little bit different. It's challenging and time consuming, and it might cost you. So I'll give you an example, not related to this, okay? So I opened an X-throwing place, like, I don't know, six years ago or so in an area, and I tried to apply for alcohol license. And I have another location like half an hour or like 45 minutes away where I have alcohol license, but it's in a different county. And I was thinking, well, I'll go through the process with the city and stuff. And I spent a year of my life going through all of the city council meetings and spoke with the city attorneys and spent a lot of time in the city hall and so on. And basically, we went through the process of trying to get ordinance changed and updated. And it was a miserable and it's just time-consuming process. And at the end, I didn't succeed. And so one of my locations just never had alcohol license just because. So I've seen some situations where people spend a lot of time and they succeeded. But again, for me, it's like, why go through all of it where like you can find something else, maybe a few blocks away, and it's going to be different jurisdiction, for example. So I like to have a path of least resistance, but I understand that sometimes there's situations where you want to go and try because you see opportunity. Again, it's doable, but it might be very, very challenging.
Yeah, and just to double down, any planning process is minimum 6 to 8 months, and that's for any like zone change or use change. And again, the alcohol falls into that same category. So just right off the bat, if something planning comes up or zoning comes up, then you got an 8-month period of time, and sometimes they won't let you do things concurrently along with that. So you have to wait for the whole planning process to go through before you even begin to do any of your construction or get your plans to even begin to get plan checked. So usually zoning and things like that come first.
Yep.
And they're expensive, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make you pay a deposit anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 to start that process.
Good points. Good points.
Yep.
Okay, next question. Is it okay to start framing out the plan, but leave electrical exposed even before the plans are approved? Note, I'm on a tight timeline and I don't want to wait around too long.
Okay, so before the plans approved. Okay, as long as like this is the way how it works. Once you have preliminary with the city, with architect, and they, go through everything and they say that everything checks out, right? So once everything is good, and architect then takes forever to do whatever they're supposed to do and just submit to the city, I'm normally fine to start build out because you already know that it's okay. It just needs to be approved through the city process, and it can take them sometimes up to 6 months for whatever stupid reason. And there will be some small changes between architect and the city, but again, it's not going to affect in general, where electrical, where stuff. Like I've done even sometimes situations where I would complete framing. I would do, you know, electrical inside and stuff, and I would take pictures and videos of everything, and I actually even cover. So I'll do a sheetrock. I'll do basically white, you know, vanilla box, even before process of inspections done. And so in the worst case scenario, you know, they need to see it before they approve rough. But if you have videos and you know that inspector is decent or CD is decent, you just tell them, hey, I have videos, I have pictures, you know, you show to them. If it's not enough, okay, you know, I'll make an opening in one of the walls so you can see everything. So it's not end of the world. And I've done it exactly for the same reason, because I want to speed up the process, because as soon as, you know, everything improved, I already have, like, I'm ordering inspection for, you know, hey, it's done, inspected, boom, 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 you know, and they inspect it and they move on.
And then another thing you want to do is whatever area you decide or building you decide to choose, go down to the building department or your community development department and talk to the code enforcement department and the business license department. Don't tell them who you are, but just ask them what are the calls for service in that area. So what happens is there's a lot of kind of looky-loos and people that go through the neighborhood and call on people that are doing construction and different things without a permit. So if you go to that area and you go and pull up those records and there's not a lot in that area, then you're pretty good to go. But if you call and get that information, there's a lot of calls for service for business licenses being defective or out of date, or code enforcement issues of people building without permits. To risk doing that means at the moment someone hears a hammer or hears any sort of power tool, you're going to get called in on. And then what they'll do is they'll stick your project in a different category. It's going to take you twice as long, and they'll charge you double the permit fees. So just ahead of time, just go down there, ask, say, hey, you know, this area, is there a lot of calls for service for code enforcement issues or a lot of business license issues? And just be you know, don't tell them who you are, but you can get that information, because if you get set back on a code enforcement issue.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
It'll set your project back if you get that stigma on your property or your location.
Interesting. Actually, I've never thought of that. But usually, I don't start like construction before I pull. You know, basically my general contractor pulls permit. Then it's kind of, you know, it's in.
And for me, I was lucky because one of the things that Long Beach had is called an early start permit. So you go down there, you get them your summary of what you're doing, and they'll actually let you start early if it's a pretty simple project. And you, like you said, you submitted your plans. They want to see plans submitted, and the moment you submit the plans and ask them if they have an early start permit, or you just pull a general, like electrical, small plumbing permit, something over the counter, and you can get started that way too.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Awesome. We have a good amount of questions today, so I guess this is a good session. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, no more questions in the chat currently. Does anyone have anything else pressing they want to bring up that wasn't mentioned thus far?
Yeah, anything about partners, looking for locations? How's everyone doing, like with the partners, for example? Because I know that it's a controversial question, because a lot of people hate to work with the partners, like with their relatives and partners in general, because they're scared. What is your experiences, guys? Anyone?
Well, I don't have a partner with me, so that's just me on mine. So I don't deal with that. But I saw your feedback on that, and that's actually a pretty good idea when it comes to expanding.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Let's see. One other question. Any other room features that you've seen that are exciting and new that are selling well right now?
Room features. I mean, I've seen plenty of super cool features. Honestly, one of the big things which gonna help any escape room, I think, it's actors. If it's implemented properly, and it can be a few different ways. Like, for example, one of the ways to use people as an actors is introduction and character, right? Another one is where people use physically actors inside the escape room. It can make a lot of difference, and we've seen it implemented well, and we've seen it implemented terribly. By the way, our next month call, I want to announce it now. We're going to have incredible person who's going to be talking about how to make introduction not suck. This is how he calls it. I don't know if you guys familiar with the escape room who closed some time ago. It's Doors of Diversions from New York. So one of their creators actually going to be with us on a call, and he's going to be talking about using actors and using introduction and character. They've been known in escape room industry for their actors. So I suggest strongly, stay with us on the calls, and make sure to join next time, because it's pretty powerful what they've done with the industry. Pretty cool. But otherwise, I mean, some cool things. I mean, smoke machines works really well. I like smoke when it's done properly, used properly. Lighting makes a big difference. By the way, lighting is cheap, but can make a difference in any escape room. Like, you can take even cheap escape room and add some lighting, and it's gonna look amazing, and it's affordable. But otherwise, yeah, nothing specific comes to mind. I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff. Like right now in Phoenix, we played some games where there's like robots involved, and we played plenty of games in LA where it's just on a different level, with robotics again, and some crazy things, crazy reveals. Like, again, I like when there is small, scary pop-ups, like something drops, something opens unexpectedly. It's always cool, like cool reveals, and a lot of times it's very affordable to do it. So yeah, just visit as many escape rooms as possible, because my challenge was when I was opening my first escape room. It was 2014. There was almost none existing in the country, and so it was challenging to get an ideas, challenging to even see what else exists. So we had to come up with a lot of stuff original that at the end didn't really work, but these days you can visit like 100 escape rooms probably without living like 100 miles away from your city, and you can get like million of ideas. And these days also a lot of suppliers exist who can do either single puzzles or the whole scenarios, like Industry Room, right? Or some other suppliers who can do like turnkey. Like me and my team done quite a few of turnkey escape rooms for the clients over the years as well. So there's a lot of stuff available these days.
Next question. Best software / programming for game management, any tech like Arduino that you prefer?
You know what? I've used only a few, so I'm probably not the best person to speak up about everything what's available, but I know that most reliable looks like PLCs. I've never used it, so I don't know much about it, but it's like commercial grade where stuff that's used on like factories and stuff. It looks like once it's designed properly, it almost like never fails, which is nice. A little bit more expensive. What I use in all of my escape rooms, it's called, and again, it's not like I'm selling it or marketing. It's called a Queen board. You can literally Queen board. You can Google it. It's the guys from Russia who makes it for years, and I've been using it for many years, and I really like it. It's hardware and again software together. It works for me really well. But I know there's I think Mystic. There is few others who guys is using, like, I don't know, Panic Rooms. What do you guys use? Maybe something like.
I think, well, I mean, that's their franchise thing. So I don't actually have the nuance of what their actual back office is. I mean, we have an ERP system and a kiosk system is how we operate the game. So that's their one thing that they won't let me get into. But but that's most of their games are all the Tech 3 style games. There's not very many lock and keys or version 1s.
Gotcha. Yep. So our system, again, this Queen board, it's very robust. We can control lights, we can control sounds, we can control all maglogs, like all kind of inputs and outputs. It's pretty crazy what it can do. And yeah, again, it works for us, and we've been using it for years. But again, there is some other good products on the market as well. I know for sure, because I've seen some guys. Ian was one of the guys who actually have been on our calls before. He used like one of the systems, I don't remember what's the name of it. But if you need specifics or like specific project or something, reach out to me or to Austin. We'll connect you with somebody who has resources and can suggest some good system for you to use, for sure.
Anna just mentioned ESP32 is very powerful and versatile.
I heard that. Yep. That's another system. Good point.
Nice.
All right. Any other questions? We've been live a little bit over the hour. We don't want to like make it too long, because I know that some of you like have night if it's in Europe, some of you busy if you're on the West Coast. Yeah, any other questions before we finish? Obviously, just want to mention, if you know anyone who needs any marketing help with Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, building website, influencer marketing, that's what we do. We would love to be your marketing agency of choice. So if you know somebody, refer them to us. We'll be happy to assist. But otherwise, yeah, Austin, anything else I forget?
I think that's good. Yeah. Join us next time. Look for the link.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.